Welcome back to Engineering Mathematics Group Theory Part 3. In Part 1 and Part 2, we have already covered what is binary operation, algebraic structure, group, and in Part 2, we saw some important types of group such as addition modulo M, multiplication modulo P. We also saw some examples on finite group to prove the group using the composition table. So today we will see what is a subgroup and order of a group and order of an element in a group. So before starting the lecture, let's see a very important group that is called UN. UN is a group. What is UN actually? UN consists of all the elements which are relative prime to n. X is relative prime to n. Remember here, n is any positive integer. Positive integer. Means what is the meaning of relative prime? GCD of x and n is 1. So we will collect all the elements which have GCD with n is 1. For example, if we want to see the collect the elements of U10, so what are the relative prime to 10? 1 is relative prime to 10 because GCD of 1 and 10 is 1. 3 is relative prime to 10 because the GCD of 3 and 10 is 1 only. 2 is not relative prime to 10 because GCD of 2 and 10 is 2, not 1. Okay, and 5 we cannot take, 4 we cannot take, 6 we cannot take, 7 and 9. So U10 has only 4 elements, 1 3 7 9. If you want to prove it group, it's a finite group. So for proving group on a finite case, we take the help from composition table. Okay, take the help from composition table. 1 3 7 9. 1 3 7 9. And the operation will be here multiplication modulo 10. Operation here will be the multiplication modulo n. We can write multiplication modulo n here. So 1 into 1 is 1, 1 3s are 3, 1 7s are 7, 1 9s are 9, 3 1s are 3, 3 3s are 9, 3 7s are 21, divide by 10, remainder is 1. 3 9s are 27, divide by 10, remainder is 7, 7 1s are 7, 7 3s are 21, divide by 10, remainder is 1. 7 7 are 49, divide by 10, remainder is 9. 7 9 are 63, divide by 10, remainder is 3. 9 1s are 9, 9 3s are 27, divide by 10, remainder is 3. 9 7 are 9 3s are 27, remainder is 7 here actually. 9 7 are 63, remainder is 3. 9 9 are 81, divided by 10, remainder is 1. So we can see that all the elements in the group belongs to only UN. So the set is closed. And for the identity, I told you, search the similar mirror column. So you are getting same column here with respect to 1. So 1 is the identity element. And these are only positive integers. So positive integers follow multiplication associative property. So associativity hold. For inverse case, you just cover up identity element. I told you in the lecture 2. So the 7 inverse is 3, 9 inverse is 9, 3 inverse is 7, and 1 inverse is 1. So this is a special type of group. It's abelian group also. You can verify it. It's abelian group. You can take any two element because multiplication property is also commutative for the positive integers. So it's abelian group actually. Now, if it's abelian group, so if you want to see the order of this group, so order I am representing here. Okay, let's see what is order of group. Order of a group. The number of, I told you this definition in lecture 1, but I am again repeating, the number of elements of a group, finite or infinite. I told you this finite group and infinite group in the lecture 1. You can see again. It's called its order. Its order. And we generally note it notation is order of this. If suppose G is any group, then its order represent like this. Order of G. This is representing order of group. So for example, if you take a group U10, I told you U10, that will be 1, 3, 7, 9. So what is the order of U10? There are only 4 elements, so order of U10 is 4. Can you tell me the elements in U12? Yeah, relative prime to tell. 1, I think 5, because 2, 3, 4 have GCD 2, 3 and 4 respectively. Then I think 7, and then next will be 11. So these are the elements of U12. You can see that. So it's a group under multiplication modulo 10. You can check it. It's a group under multiplication modulo 12. You can verify it. Now, next definition I am going to discuss here. Suppose we have another group. I told you like Z6. Yeah, Z is a group with addition modulo 6. Suppose we take Z6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose we have a group like this. And it's a group with respect to addition modulo 6. And order of this group is 6. I discussed this example in previous lecture. Next is order of an element in a group. In a group, there are many elements. So order of every element can be differ from order of other elements. Or all the elements can be of same order also. But order can be distinct for different type of elements. So let's see what is the order of an element. The order of an element G, suppose the element is G in group G, is the smallest positive integer, n, such that G to the power n equal to E. Means we have to find the smallest positive integer, and if we do the power, it gives the identity element of the group, then that n will be the order of element Z. But in the case of addition, in addition notation, order is defined like this. G plus G plus G plus G. We have to add, suppose we are adding n times, then Ng must be equal to the identity. This is your additive identity if you are dealing in addition case, and this is your multiplicative identity if you are dealing with the operation multiplicative. G to the power n, actually G into G n times. So if the operation in multiplication, we write order in this form. If operation of addition, we write order of element in this form. So both definition are correct, but in different binary operations. If no, remark is here, if no such an integer exists, then we say that G has infinite order. Order of any element is denoted by, this is the notation. Let's see some examples based on order of an element. So example 1. Take U15. So U15 you know very well. We have to collect all the elements which are relative prime to 15. 1, 2, 4, 6 we cannot take, 7, 8, 9 we cannot take, 10 we cannot, 11, 12 we can, 13, 14. So can you tell me the order of U15? Yeah, count the number of elements. This is a finite group, so you can see there are 8 elements. Now, check the order. Find the order of I'm giving some here problem 1, 4, 11, 13. Okay. For that, operation in multiplication modulo 15. So, in the case of identity multiplication modulo, one is identity element actually here. One is identity element. And how you can verify? You just make the composition table and you can see that we are getting a image column corresponding to one only. So one is identity element. Now we want to make the power of elements, and for which power we will get one, that smallest power will say the order of the element. For 1 to the power 1, it is 1. So order of 1 is actually 1. Okay, let's check for 2. 2 to the power 1 is 2, no. 2 to the power 2 is 4, no. 2 to the power 3 is 8, no. 2 to the power 4 is 16, but if you divide by 15, because the operation is multiplication model 15, its remainder is actually 1 in this sense. So you are getting identity element. So order of 2 is 4. Order of 2 is 4. What is the order of 4? 4 to the power 1 is 4. 4 to the power 2 is 16. Divided by 15, you will get 1. So order of 4 is 2. Now, what is the order of 11? 11 to the power 11, 11. 11 to the power 12 is 121. Divide by 15, you will get 1 only. So order of 11 is also 2. What is 13 order? 13 is quite difficult. 13 1 ja 13. Okay. 13 2 ja 169. Divide by 15, you will get 4, I think. Next power 13 to the power 3. So it's quite difficult to evaluate. But we have a shortcut method also. I told you A is concurrent to B on modulo M if A minus B is divisible by M. If you see my second lecture. So 13 is congruent to minus 2 on modulo 15. It can be addition or it can be multiplication. Because 13 minus plus 2 is divided by 15. It means the order of 33 is equal to minus 2. Minus 2 ko we can see the order of 13 with the help of minus 2. Now, we cannot take the odd powers because there is a no negative element. So we will take only positive power. 13 square means minus 2 square, that will be 4, not equal to 1. 13 to the power 4. So minus 2 to the power 4, that will be 16. Divided by 15, you will get 1. It means order of 13 is 4. So if you are dealing with some large number, with the help of congruency, you can convert it in small numbers, and this trick will help us in the finding the order of an element. Let's see the next problem. This was based on multiplication. Next problem is based on addition. Suppose we have Z10. So 0, 1, 2 up to 9. We know that this is a group under addition modulo 10. Under addition modulo 10. So for finding the order of an element, because we are dealing in addition, now order is defined by G plus G plus G n times equal to identity. Can you tell me the identity in this case? Yes. If you make the composition table, you can see that the column has mirror image with respect to element 0. So 0 is the identity and it's belonging to Z10 only. Now our aim to find the, for how many times we should add, therefore this ng is 0. Because here we are adding g n times. So we will start from 1 because n is the least positive, smallest positive integer. So take the element, I am taking firstly 0. Remember always, identity element always has order 1. Remember this. It will work in most cases, addition and multiplication. In the case of 1, if you take 1, g equal to 1. So how many times we should add? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I think if we add 10 times, 10 into 1, then it will be 0 because divide by 10, your remainder will be 0. That will be the identity element. So order of 1 is 10 here. Now please find the order of 2. So okay, if you add 2 one time, this is not equal to identity element. 1 into 2. If you add 2 times 2, this is actually 2 plus 2. This is 4, not equal to identity element in modulo 10. Remember this, in modulo 10. If you add 2 3 times, 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6, not equal to 0 in modulo 10. If you add 4 times, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, 8, that is also not equal to 0. If you add 5 times 2, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, in addition modulo 10, you will see that the remainder is 0. It means order of element 2 is 5. Order of 2 is 5. This is a finite group. So order will be finite. Always remember, order of a group is always divided by order of element. Means order of an element always divide the order of group. Here you can see the order of this group is 10. So the order of element will be like this: 1, 2, 5, 10. There are only 4 possibilities. No element can have order 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 because order of element always divide order of group. We will see this point in discuss in this in better manner in upcoming lectures. We will see the detailed study on this in this topic when order of group is divided by order of subgroup. This is related to some cyclic group property. We will discuss in detail later classes. Okay, next example I'm going to take here. I'm taking now a infinite group. Till now we have taken finite groups. In finite groups, order of group is countable. For example, if we take consider set of integers under ordinary addition. Ordinary addition. Okay. Here, every non-zero element has infinite order. Infinite order. Since a comma 2a comma 3a and so on never includes 0 for a non-zero. What is the meaning? If we take a set of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, in that case, we know that in the case of addition, operation is addition actually. We know that in this case, identity element is 0 because a plus e equal to a, then e will be 0. If we take any a element other than identity, that a can be 1, 2, 3, that ordinary a belongs to integer and a is not equal to 0. So if we add a plus a, it will be 2a, it is also non-zero. But we want equal to 0 because definition is g plus g plus g equal to identity in case of addition, or ng equal to 0 because identity is 0 here. But if you add 2 times, it is not equal to 0. If you add 3 times, it is again 3a, that is not equal to 0. So we are not getting any integer n for which if we add a n times, that will give you identity element or 0 because a is non-zero here. So, but in the case of a modulo, we get 0 due to remainder only because in that case we consider only remainder part. But here I'm not taking remainder here, it's ordinary addition. Therefore, if you add any non-zero integer any times, you will not get 0 anytime. Therefore, every element has order infinite order. Infinite order. Here also the order of Z is infinite because Z is infinite group here because you cannot count the number of elements in this group. Okay, let's see what is subsets, subgroups of a group. This is again a very important topic. If we take any H is a non-empty subset of group G. Then this non-empty subset can be subgroup of G under certain conditions. Remember my point? Every subset of G cannot be subgroup. A subset which holds some certain condition will be the subgroup of G. So what are that conditions? Let's see. So what is the definition of subgroup? I'm going to discuss here firstly. A non-empty subset H of a group G is said to be a subgroup of G if the composition in G is also a composition in H, and for this composition H itself a group. Itself is a group. What is the meaning? First is composition. Composition means operation. So same operation needed. Means if we are checking a group in star operation, then subgroup, this operation must be in the subset H, and H also should be the satisfy the properties of group under the same operation star. We cannot change the operation actually. What is meaning of this composition? We will see later in some examples. Before that, let's see some remarks. Then we will see the definition in detailed manner. Every subgroup of G is a subset of G. Remember this point? Subgroup is a subset, but I already told this point, subset is not a subgroup Remark 2. There are two types of subgroups. Trivial, or we call improper. And second is proper subgroups. So group itself, it's our subgroup. It's subgroup. A group is itself subgroup, and identity is also a subgroup of group G. These two are trivial subgroup of G. And rest others are the proper subgroups of G. Okay. Let's see some important types of subgroup. Let's see some example 1. If we take a group of fourth root of unity, I told you in the lecture 2, suppose we have a group of fourth root of unity, and we know that it is a group under the multiplication operation. Now if we take a subset H, that is 1 minus 1, I am claiming that it is a subgroup of G under the multiplication composition, only multiplication composition. How? We can check it. 1 minus 1, make a table. If you multiply 1, 1 minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1. So it is a closed, because we have to check H also satisfying the group properties. We are checking for H here. It's a closure because every element inside only. Associative, you can check every element is associative because there are two elements. You can take 1, 1, minus 1, and you operate 1, 1 into minus 1, that will be equal to 1 into 1 into minus 1. Okay. Identity, if you see this column is coming through this corresponding to 1, so identity is 1. And inverse is also, if you cover the identity element, 1 is itself inverse and minus 1 is itself inverse. So it's a group. It is satisfying the group properties under the same operation. See here, same operation. And most important point, all the elements are in G only. All the elements of H are in G only, and it's not equal to G, and it's not identity because we have two elements here. Identity is always unique. It means H is a proper subgroup of G. Proper subgroup of G. Proper subgroup of G. We have some other examples also. If we take a collection of all elements, 1 to the power 1 by n equal to x, means we take the nth root of unity, and H is a cube root of unity. Then again H is a proper subset, proper subgroup of G. Third, we can take, if we take a set of integers 1, 2, 3 and so on under addition, ordinary addition, and we take another subgroup 0, 2, 4, 6 set of even integers under the same operation addition, it will be a subgroup. You can verify. But most important point in the definition is already mentioned, and I did not discuss till now, that is composition. Same composition is needed here. What is meaning here? Let's take a group G. G is a group of integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. And I'm taking the operation is addition. We know that very well. This is a group. This is a group. Okay. Now if we take a subset H, I'm taking a subset, not claiming subgroup. That's I'm taking Hn 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1, and the operation is addition modulo n. We can see that Hn is subset of G. Subset, not subgroup. Yes, very good. And it's again, it's addition modulo property, so it will be group only. Now we have both are group. Both are group, okay. One group's element is contained in other group, so we can say that Hn is subgroup of G. Is it correct? Is it correct? Okay, some people are asking from which book I am following. I am following Joseph Gallian, Contemporary Abstract Algebra. Contemporary Abstract Algebra. You can get soft copy also. Very good book on Unit 4. I will discuss Joseph Gallian from Duluth University, Minnesota. Duluth University, Minnesota. Very famous author, Minnesota. Okay. So is it correct? Is it my claim is correct? No, my claim is not correct. Hn is not subgroup of G. Why? Can you tell me? Just ask yourself. Because binary composition is different here. In the first case, binary operation is ordinary addition, but in the second case, it's a modulo addition. And for proving subgroup, operations should be unique. Composition should be same. Same composition needed. Same operation needed. But here I'm changing the operation. That's why we cannot claim here it's subgroup. So Hn is not subgroup of G here due to different compositions. Even though both are groups and one is subset of another, but due to different compositions, Hn is not subgroup of G. It's a very important point. Let's see what are the subgroup tests. How we can test the given subset of G is a subgroup or not. So let's see subgroup tests. How can you check if H is given subset of a group G, H will be a subgroup. So for that we have some test. First is two-step test. Two-step subgroup test. In two-step we can check. What is the statement of this two-step test? A non-empty. Why always take non-empty? Because identity element is always both in group and subgroup. Okay, before that, let's see some properties of subgroup which are related to group also. What are that properties? Let's see in the case of theorem. then this theorem will help us in the proving in subgroup test. Theorem is, first point is, the identity of a subgroup is the same as identity of the group. Identity element is always same. Second, the inverse of any element of a subgroup is the same as the inverse of the same as an element of group. Means if element group belongs to G and its inverse is G inverse, then if it G belongs to H, then it will imply G inverse will be also in H. And this is unique, not different. Inverse is unique in both subgroup and group. Third is the order of, this is very important. The order of an element, I have already discussed this definition, of a subgroup is the same as the order of that element regarded as a member of the group. What is the meaning? If G has order n in group G, and if G belongs to H also, then order will be n only. Remember this point. Order of any element in same in group and subgroup both. Now let's see the two-step test. So what is two-step test? So firstly, I am going to discuss the statement here. A non-empty subset H of a group G is a subgroup. Subset will become subgroup if and only if following two conditions are held. A belongs to H. If any element belongs to subset H and B belongs to subset H, then A into B must be belongs to H, means closed A. You can say closed. If any operation is not given, remember my point, we always took multiplication in general. If this property you want in case of addition, then it will look like A plus B belongs to H. Some people also called write A operation, B belongs to H. But if operation is not given, we took generally multiplication. If A belongs to H, then it must belong, A inverse B must belongs to H, where A inverse is the inverse of A. So these are two steps. You take any two elements in subset, their product must be their operation. Actually, this is not product, this is operation. This is A composition. This is A binary operation B. Must be in H. If A belongs to H, then inverse also belongs to H. These are two-step test. If any subset satisfy these two properties, then it will be subgroup of any group G. We can see the proof of this test also. Let's see the proof. It can be asked in exam also. So there are two cases, necessary and sufficient. Necessary condition. Suppose in necessary I am taking it's a subgroup, and we will prove these two properties. And in sufficient we will take these two properties and we will prove it's a subgroup. It's also a satisfying the group properties. Suppose H is a subgroup of G, then H must be closed Because it's a subgroup, it means it's also satisfying the properties of groups. Then only it will become subgroup. So we are taking inverse here. I am taking it's a subgroup. It means it is satisfying all the four property: closure, associative, identity, and inverse. Closed with respect to if not operation is given, I am taking multiplication, such that the composition in G, same composition in G also. Therefore, A belongs to H, B belongs to H, and if H is a subgroup, it will satisfy the properties of groups. So AB will also belongs to H because it's a closure property. Next, let A belongs to H and A inverse be the inverse of A in G, then the inverse of A in H is also A inverse. Means firstly I am taking A inverse in G, but H is also satisfying the properties of group. It means if A belongs to H and it is a satisfying the property of group, therefore its inverse must be belongs to H also. Since H itself, same thing I told you, H itself a group, therefore each element of H must possess inverse. Therefore means A belongs to H implies A inverse also belongs to H. Let's see the sufficient conditions. We will take just reverse and we will prove H is a subgroup. For proving H is a subgroup, we have to prove H is satisfying the properties of groups under multiplication. Means we have to show all the four properties under the binary operation multiplication. Sufficient conditions. Since A belongs to H, B belongs to H, it is given. And it is given AB belongs to H. These two properties are now given. With the help of these two properties, we will prove all the four properties for proving H a group. Therefore, this property is actually closure property is given. H is closed with respect to multiplication. Here H is I am taking a subset here only, subset of G. Okay, next associativity. The elements of H are also the elements of G, obviously because H is subset of G, and the composition in G is associative. Therefore, the same composition means operation, must also be associative because the elements are same, so associativity hold. Third is existence of identity. Okay, what is meaning? The identity, I told you the first property, identity element of group and subgroup both are same. The identity of the subgroup is the same as the identity of the group. Okay, it means if we use the second result, A belongs to H, it is given A inverse also belongs to H. Okay, further if we take A belongs to H, A inverse belongs to H, then use the first result, A belongs to H, B belongs to H, then their product belongs to H. So here A inverse is look like B, so its product A inverse belongs to H, and A is also element of, if A is the element of H, it will imply A is the element of G because H is a subset of G. and A inverse is identity, so E belongs to H. It means identity element exists. Okay. Existence of inverse last property. It is given actually in the problem. It is given since A belongs to H. It's a given second property. A inverse also belongs to H. Therefore, each element of H possesses inverse. Actually, if you see carefully, two properties are given: closure and inverse. We have to check for associativity and identity. We have checked that. Hence, H itself is a group for the same composition of G. So, H is a subgroup of G because H is subset and following the group properties under same operation. Operation is compulsory here. Next property is actually subgroup test, one step test. What is one step test? Let's see. Similarly, you can check one step test also. One step test. This is most important. It is asked several times in AKTU exams. One step test, it's the most important, and follow some good books and prove it. I'm giving the statement. A necessary and sufficient condition for a non-empty subset H of G to be a group, to be a subgroup is that if A belongs to H, B belongs to H, then AB inverse belongs to H, where B inverse is the inverse of B. Actually, it's similar to case 2. A belongs to H, B belongs to H, then AB belongs to H in two steps, and B belongs to H, then B inverse belongs to H. So, they in the one step test, they merge both two step tests, both the statements, and in one step. So, you just take the help of previous two step test method, prove necessary and sufficient conditions. Necessary conditions and sufficient conditions. This proof is most important. You can Google it, you can get from many books. Most important. Most important. We'll ask in 10 marks question. So I'm giving you this as a homework. Complete this question. Similar to two-step test only. Very similar to two-step test only. Okay, I'm giving you one more problem to you. Prove it also. Prove that. First is, if H is any subgroup of G, then H inverse is equal to H. Also so that converse is not true. Second proving I am giving you. If H, K are two subgroups of a group G, then HK is a subgroup of G if and only if HK is commutative, HK equal to KH. Also prove a corollary related to this one only. If H, K are subgroup of an abelian group G, important point, abelian group, it means commutative hold obviously, then HK is subgroup of G. Here this condition is not necessary because we are taking subgroup of abelian group, so commutative property will be satisfied. So I am giving you two proofs here and one is here as a homework. Complete these three problems and mark is assignment and submit it till Sunday. These 3 problems, submit it till Sunday. Okay. In the next lecture, we will see the algebra of subgroups, means intersection, union, order, and some important examples based on subgroups. Okay, thank you.